New studio set. How do you like it? Little lighting, huh? And a little couple things, man. Look at this. The Viair plate. With Viair being the most recent sponsor that jumped onto the build, I want to segue that straight into today's video. It's gonna be all about sponsorships, and more in particular, it's gonna be how to get sponsored regardless of what your following count, if you have it massive, if it's little, if you have none at all. How to work with brands and how to get sponsored. I just genuinely want to make this video because I wish that I had it, and I know some of you out there, probably you watching this video, is more talented than I will ever be, with more creativity and more skills, and maybe you just don't possess the technical knowledge of how to go about doing this, or the marketing aspect. You don't know how this really works to reach out to brands in the proper way to create partnerships. So today I would love to just kind of teach you guys what I've learned through my experience working with brands. I'm not gonna say I'm perfect by any means, but I have done it successfully previously, and this is the way that I go about doing it. Every time that it's been successful, this is how I have done it. Let's get this out of the way, front and center. The most crucial thing that I think when initiating a conversation with a brand for a partnership or sponsorship is a pitch deck. Now I'm going to tell you guys everything about what a pitch deck is, what it should encompass, what it should look like, and an example of what I have used previously as a pitch deck. But first we need to tell you guys a little bit about sponsorships and partnerships with brands and what you should expect before even initiating these conversations with brands. Quick disclaimer, everything we go over in this video will be timestamped in the timeline below, so if there's a section of this video that you like, you can go back to it, or if you want to skip through things, it will be labeled below. For example, if you want to just go straight to the pitch deck, it'll be linked right here. You could click it, just go right there. With that out of the way, and now we have your guys' attention, let's deep dive and unbox, if you will, some sponsorships. All right, so you're a noob trying to get sponsored, or you're a noob with sponsorships. How do you get them? What should you expect? Well, the first thing you should know, it's probably not going to be free. Almost all partnerships right out of the gate are at a discounted rate. Okay, they're usually not free. You may get lucky in for something small, or you may get lucky with a startup company or somebody who fully believes in what you are building to give you something for free. I'm not saying it's impossible, but don't go in with the expectations that you're gonna get something for free. And definitely do not go in expecting somebody to then pay you for said work or thing that you're asking for to promote their stuff, because I'm not saying it's impossible, but as a brand new newbie, maybe you don't got a lot of following and maybe you don't got a lot of skills, you're probably not gonna get paid for it. Almost guaranteed. Number 2, all partnerships come at a price, even if they are free. The brand is always going to get something. Publicity, using your car as a promo car for their website, or you're providing some sort of skill, trade, and showcasing their product in a way that nobody else can, or money. The brand is gonna get something out of this. So just know, on the back end of that sponsorship, there will always be a contract where the brand gets something from you in return. Now, a lot of things, what I've seen in my case, if things are free, is brands will want you to provide marketing material for them every quarter. See you at shows and pictures of your car at shows so they can showcase their things being out in the world and just being on display. I've also seen brands require a certain number of sales that are generated by you, and if that's not fulfilled, then you're fully responsible for the product that they gave you. Be fully aware. The brand gets something. Number 3, there has to be some benefit to working with you. Okay, now this is where it gets a little confusing. At the end of the day, in the digital media space that we live in, it kind of is a numbers game, okay? Having a large following and having a decent audience obviously isn't gonna hurt you, it's probably gonna help. Now, it can be done with a small audience. I've done it myself, and it can be done with no audience, but there has to be a benefit to working with you, and that's the key. This is the key that I think a lot of people are missing when they have a smaller social media account or no social media following whatsoever. Having a skill. You could be the most amazing car builder. Use that to your advantage. Showcase previous projects that you worked on, previous things that you've built. Your talent can definitely sell a sponsorship. Now, also doesn't just have to be in the car building aspect to get free parts. You could be an amazing photographer. You can be an amazing videographer. You could be great at something that helps sell that product. If you're the photographer and you're shooting product shots, and your trade now is your product photography, videography, whatever it may be, to showcase on their website, in their emails, for their marketing material, that you're giving in trade, your services in trade for their parts and their sponsorship and their partnership. Leverage what you're good at, because you're good at something. You're good at something. Now, you may be saying, okay, well, maybe I am good at stuff, but I've never documented it. I'm not a photographer, I'm not a videographer, or not an expert car builder. Maybe you're none of these things. If you have nothing to show, this is where you could take 5 minutes, an hour out of your day, hop on Fiverr and search up a digital graphic 3D rendering artist, whatever you gotta look up. And if you have a vision, get that vision in a digital rendering, okay? Having a rendering will significantly help you sell your idea if you have nothing to show, because pictures speak 1,000 words, right? Is that what the saying is? Pictures speak 1,000 words? I don't know, I think that's what it is. Partnerships, sponsorships 101. You guys know what to expect. Now that you got this down, you're like, okay, I'm ready to get out there. It's time for you to create your pitch deck. Now, there's a lot of vital things inside this pitch deck. Now, I would say one of the most important things is knowing what you want. When you type online, car parts for my whatever thing, and you're like, ooh, this exhaust would be cool. Know that that's what you want. And this is the proper brand to reach out to. Take X brand name, I want this specific thing. That's how it works with a partnership. You can't just go in there and ask willy-nilly, hey, can I have free stuff? And they say, what do you want? And you say, well, whatever you're willing to give me. It doesn't work like that. You gotta know what you want, okay? Find out what it is that you want, or whatever it is that you need, and ask for it. That's number one. We're gonna kind of go out of order here. We're gonna need to establish who you are as a person, as a builder, as a creative, whatever it is, influencer, whatever it is that you may be. We need to establish a previous history of who you are and what you do. Now, the next thing, which is arguably just as important as knowing what you want, explaining your project with visuals. This is where that graphic rendering comes in. You put in a demonstration or example of what you hope to achieve and what you're aiming to build. Whatever radical idea that you have needs to be encompassed in an image somehow. Or maybe you write a really persuasive paragraph with some key examples with some crappy Photoshop. I don't know, something. Put something visually that somebody can look at to grasp the idea that you have inside your head, because it's probably great. But will really do that great idea a disservice is if somebody can't understand what your vision is. That's why having a rendering or something that shows is so important. Now we're gonna kind of relate this back with the next thing. With a benefit to working with you, there needs to be a deliverables section. Things that you promise to achieve and do for this brand. And that, again, like I said, ties back into that skill that you are going to provide, whether it be pictures, videos, publicity, building a crazy ass project, putting branding on your car, developing a crazy wrap, whatever it is that you have promised the sun, moon, and stars to them needs to be said and captured in this pitch deck. Deliverables is very important because it shows the brand on paper what you are going to provide for them. Now, the next couple things we're going to talk about are great to have, not 100% necessary because maybe you don't have them because you're just starting out, and that's talking about your influence, your audience, and your reach, how far this project is going to go, where you expect to be. Now, in supplement of this, what you can do is, if you're an avid car show participant, you can give a list of shows that you plan to attend. Now, when I say shows, I'm not talking about your local car meets. No brand is just going to value your local car meet as something that is sustainable to give them a decent amount of exposure or business. Brands are looking for you to go to big name shows that have a higher standard for cars to live up to. I'm not saying cars that are at your local meet aren't great. What I'm saying is, when you go to these shows, the whole goal usually is to build something ridiculous, and usually there is some sort of criteria that needs to be met to be accepted to get into these shows. Now that we've got all this information, what is it that we're gonna do with this? We're gonna compile this. What I like to do is compile them into images and put them in a PDF. Now what I use to make my pitch decks is a combination between Photoshop and Illustrator. You can even do that with something free like Canva. You can export things in a PDF there. It's a little bit more difficult to use because it's not as extensive as Photoshop or Illustrator, but it gets the job done. So now let's jump into the computer over here, and I'm gonna show you guys an example of something that I would use as a pitch deck if I were brand new, submitting something for the first time, had no following, and I was gonna be working on my Cayman project, because that's just kind of what I got right now. Okay, I'm not gonna go step by step how to creatively build a pitch deck or anything like that. I'm just gonna show you guys an example in the order that I like to kind of stack things. Like I said, I'm not perfect by any means, but this is what I usually do, and then what I've had success with. So let's dive right into the pitch deck. The first thing, as you can see here, I would start with a cover page. Now the cover page should include an image or a basic graphic, something that represents what you're going to be pitching. As you guys can see here, we have the Cayman project that I would be pitching. A basic graphic, Cayman 432 GT, the 3D rendering that I had made of the Cayman project, and then a very basic graphic design. Like I said, it was just to show you guys as an example. Now our next slide is one of the most important, and this is our goals page. Now this is your radical idea, the vision that you have that you're pitching to somebody, the idea that you need to sell them on. So right here we have our build breakdown. We have our 1000 horsepower LS1 swapped Cayman on airlift suspension with a custom carbon fiber wide body, SSR SP1s, and a midnight purple paint job. Obviously, like I said, this is just completely made up for me, but this is where you would sell your idea. And now that you've sold them on your build, the thing that I would follow it up with is ask, what are you asking from the brand? Right here, as you guys can see, we're reaching out to Garrett for a fatty turbo, a turbo that I'm running on my Genesis, the GT3582, because this thing is going to get you to the power levels and help sell that dream. And if they want to be a part of this build, this is what you're asking for. And key here on this page, as you can see, it says GT3582. This is the actual number from Garrett, that part number. You need to put the part number on here. Don't forget that. Now that you've asked for what you want, you gotta show them who you are, who they're working with, and why you deserve to get their sponsorship. As you guys can see right here, we have Joe Schmo. He's got 50 followers, 2 posts, following 700 people. His Instagram handle here is Joe Schmo. His YouTube, Joe TV. He's an expert fabricator with 2 months experience. He's a fashion icon featured in the high school yearbook. He's a race car driver with 3 Forza World Champions. Look at that, all his titles, his accolades, his skills, what he's known for, all in one thing, concise and easy to read. And this is why he deserves that fatty turbo. Now that you've sold them on who you are, you need to show them where the car is intended to end up, whether that's a magazine spread, whether it's a cover of a magazine, whether it's featured in an article on a website, whether it's some media coverage on a TV show, YouTube channel, Instagram handle, or events. Like here, we have our event schedule. Look at Joe Schmo is going to be at Clean Culture in July, Tuner Evo in August, Wake Fest in September, Super Street in October, Hot Import Nights in October, Doubling Up that month, Stance Nation in November, Big Euro in December, and SEMA going backwards in time in November. The example here is show them where the car is going to be and who it's going to reach. Now last but not least is the deliverables, what the brand is going to get and what you are going to provide for them. So here in this example, you can see Joe Schmo. He's going to provide an in-depth install video, a dedicated Instagram post, a dedicated TikTok video, wow, decal space on the car, links to products in his IG bio, and he's going to tell all his friends to like their posts. Now keep in mind, this is going to be the last page that they see, so it needs to be very strongly worded and it portrayed as if they are going to benefit more than you are going to benefit from them giving you what they're going to give you in this partnership. That's pretty much it for this section of explaining the pitch decks. Before we leave this portion of this video, I do want to say, like, again, these were very basic graphic things that I made super quickly.
I would advise that you spend a lot more time doing this if this is what you're going to be doing, and this doesn't need to be exactly set in stone the way that I did. This is just the order of operations in which I usually try and structure mine, and I usually do it in 6 pages like this. As you go along and send these out and try and create some of your own, you'll develop your own style and find out what works for you when reaching out to brands.
Alright, again, this was the most basic pitch deck that I could put together. I didn't put a ton of effort. It was just an example so that you guys could see how I structure mine in the way that I would format a pitch deck. Now that you've got this awesome, beautiful pitch deck that you have spent like tons of time and effort and you're super pumped on, and you've written an awesome email, now where do you send it? It's a great question. You want to try your best to send it to the marketing team. If you can't send it to the marketing team, some companies actually have a sponsorship division by itself. If not that, send it to the sales team, social media team, somewhere that has the best bet to try and get your information where it needs to go. And if all else fails, just send it to the generic info at whatever company you're trying to reach email. And then you cross your fingers and hope for the best. Now I've given you guys everything that I know from my experience seeking out sponsorships and partnerships with brands. This is how I do it. I build a pitch deck and I try and format it in this way, and I provide as much juicy information in a compact thing as I can. This is what I've seen success with, and now I hope that some of you can take this, and this is that little key, the missing key that you needed to go out and flourish. I hope that some of you are more successful than I am at getting all the partnerships that you want and all the sponsorships that you need. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this video was helpful. If you like this kind of content, comment down below. Tell me what you think. If you'd like to see more, let me know. If you're new here to the channel, I make new videos every single Tuesday, so subscribe. Really would help me out trying to reach my goal of 100,000 subscribers. We are so close. We only need 75,000 more. We're so close. Yeah, maybe hit that like button for me. I could use all the extra help. Well, that's all I gotta say. Stick around. We'll have more Cayman videos real soon here. We're so close to getting this thing dialed in. There's just all these little itty bitty things that we got left to dial in before she's ready to hit the streets. So with that, I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace. I'm out of here.